The Voice Season 28's heartthrob Niall Horan was just announced on September 8th. Coaches Reba McEntire, Snoop Dogg, Michael Bublé and Horan spent a few minutes discussing everything related to The Voice in a coach's round conversation, and the Dog himself gave, "Here's one of the greatest compliments imaginable. When was the moment that you guys knew we were all going to be friends?" was the straightforward question McEntire asked her colleagues. Coaches to start the conversation when Snoop said, "I think it was the first moment for me. I'm one of those kinds of guys that the spirit get connected instantly off the rip, and as soon as I walked into the room, as soon as we sat down next to each other, you could feel it in the air. It's in the spirit." Similar to Snoop, Horan said he sensed the friendship pretty much from straight away. "I've never met Snoop," he pointed to Bublé and remarked, "I've known you for too long, and I obviously worked with Reva before, but I was excited to meet Snoop and work again with you guys." Snoop Dogg delivered him the year's greatest compliment during a touching exchange between the season 28 coaches. "My parents asked, 'Who is going to be there with you?' when I announced that I was returning to The Voice," he clarified. "So when I said Reba and Mike, they already know the chemistry. When I said your name, it was like instant heartthrob," Snoop added to Horan. Snoop then shared a tale about how Horan's memorable moment with a fan brought back fond memories. "The other day," Snoop remarked, "I and Horan were walking. Suddenly, a young girl appeared and began sobbing uncontrollably, and Horan stepped aside and gave her the kind of consolation that celebrities give. I remember having those moments in 1990, I added. It turns out that Bublé also had a heartthrob story, though given his familiarity with the comedian, it might be a little more made up. I was at the grocery store and someone started screaming my name. Michael, Michael. Michael Bublé uttered those words. And I came up to her. I said, hi. And she said, can you get me Neil? Everyone laughed, and some supporters even noticed him flushing subtly from the love his teammates were giving him. When The Voice Season 28 premieres, things will only get more thrilling. It appears that Horan will eventually be placed in a penalty box akin to those used in hockey. Based on the teaser clip, Horan's transgression, Bublé claims that Horan will be held accountable for looking too good. You might not picture the worlds of Snoop Dogg and Niall Horan intersecting in a way that highlights humanity, tears, and embraces. Niall, the soft-spoken Irish singer-songwriter, and Snoop, the legendary West Coast rapper, represent quite different facets of music culture. However, as it frequently does, music have the power to unite people and create memories that last. And lately, one such instance transpired so exquisitely that Snoop Dogg acknowledged he was moved in a way I didn't expect. It all started at one of Niall Horan shows, a crowded arena with bright lights, loyal fans, and the distinct buzz of excitement. Seeing N.I. performing live is a once-in-a-lifetime experience for many of his fans, not just a fun night out. Emily, a teenage girl, was one of those fans who had been looking forward to this evening for years. She had followed Niall since he was a member of One Direction, seeing him change from a cheeky guitar-wielding boy to a sophisticated solo performer whose lyrics were sweet and point. Emily never imagined, however, that she would be featured on the show, and that Snoop Dogg himself would be impacted by her tale. Niall started playing the opening chords to one of his most emotional songs halfway through his performance. A camera moved around the room as the throng sang along, briefly focusing on Emily. Tears stained her face, unadulterated emotion gushing out. She was overwhelmed, not depressed. It was the type of crying that occurs when your body is overwhelmed by happiness. Niall took note. Gently breaking off the psalm, he approached the edge of the stage and looked into the audience until he located her. He lowered his microphone and said, "Hey, are you okay?" There. The audience fell silent. Emily clutched her chest, unable to speak, and nodded through her cries. Niall did not sweep by. Instead, he knelt, held out his hand, and requested that security bring her closer. As Emily was led to the front, the arena erupted in applause. "This is for you," Niall said softly into the microphone after removing the guitar strap from his shoulder and placing it in her hands. I want you to know that you're never alone. Since music helped me get through a lot, when I was your age." Niall sang the song to her directly as the band resumed their performance. As she stood there, shaking and clutching his instrument, Emily's tears turned into bright grins. It was the kind of act that goes beyond fandom and notoriety. It was heartfelt and human to human. Online backstage, videos of the exchange went viral. After, fans shared footage, and #Niallandi became a global sensation in a matter of hours. It served as a reminder of the importance of live music in addition to being a lovely moment. One of the clips was discovered by Snoop Dogg. He initially claimed that he clicked out of curiosity because both Niall's solo career and One Direction are highly admired by his children. However, he acknowledged that it struck him in the chest after seeing the entire video. Later in an interview, Snoop revealed, "I'm not going to lie, man, I had to sit back when I saw that boy stop his whole show for that young lady. It's true. Love is that. That is the intended purpose of this musical endeavor. It's about times like those, not about having no charts or streams. Emotional ties with fans are nothing new to Snoop himself. Despite his easygoing demeanor, he is renowned for taking the time to speak with people at the meet and greets, giving young aspirants advice, and giving voice to underrepresented groups. However, he felt something when he witnessed Niall, a young performer from a whole different genre, develop that level of closeness with a fan. It may seem strange at first that a legendary rapper would find a pop singer's interaction so moving. However, Snoop gave the ideal explanation. "Look, I've been playing this game for a while. You see how people are amused by celebrity. Some cats lose sight of the affection and the fans. However, what did Niall do? It's soul work, that is ministry, not simply music. That young woman will live with that memory forever. Shoot, even though I wasn't there, I remember it." Snoop even disclosed that the video caused him to consider his own path. "I reflected on all the times a fan approached me in tears and said that my music helped them get through some difficult moments. Man, even though I don't always display it, it has meaning. It indicates that I'm not simply rhyming for myself." Emily posted her perspective on social media. Following the video's viral success, she clarified that Niall's music had served as a haven for her during the years she had been struggling with anxiety and sadness. She described it as like a miracle. "I didn't know I needed to hold his instrument and hear him talk directly to her." Fans quickly started posting their own tales of how Niall or even other artists had helped them get through difficult times after her post received hundreds of thousands of likes. It started a larger online discussion on music's ability to heal. Emily's message was boosted by Snoop, who retweeted it with the following caption, "This is the kind of energy the world needs. Kudos to Niall. Emily, you have my admiration. Music has the ability to heal." Niall was humbled when he learned of Snoop's response. He acknowledged in an interview that he never thought Snoop Dogg, of all people, would witness that event. I listened to Snoop as a child. Niall said, he is among the most awesome individuals in the history of music. It's unbelievable to hear that. Something I did moved him. To be honest, though I didn't do it for attention. Someone I just saw needed to know she was important. I'm pleased if that serves as a reminder of the power of music. Niall also made a suggestion that he and Snoop might meet together in the near future. He made some incredibly nice remarks. Who knows, we might do something together someday. Haven't. Stranger things happened. Fans' thoughts of a collaboration erupted on social media as they learned about Snoop's compliments. Snoop rapping over Niall's guitar chords started to go viral. Even phony record covers with titles like Soul and Strings or From Dublin to Long Beaches were made by certain admirers. Snoop himself did not rule out a partnership despite the fact that it might seem impossible. He remarked, "I like that boy's energy, he had heart. I'm available if he ever wants."